The movie begins with a girl named Bana living alone with her cat. From her window, she notices that new neighbors have moved into apartment 101. Later, her psychiatrist doctor, Carl, visits her, asking how her day went, since she never leaves the house. Carl keeps trying to convince her to go outside and live her life again, but she insists on staying alone. Every night, she sits with her glass by the window, with nothing to do except watch people's lives from afar. One day the doorbell rings. She rushes to see who it is and finds a boy saying, "I'm Ethan, your new neighbor. My mom sent me with a gift for you." At first, she tells him she doesn't open the door to anyone, but after he insists, she decides to let him in and thanks him for the gift. Ethan notices some photos on the fridge and asks, "Who are they?" She replies that it's her husband and daughter, but she's now divorced and living alone. She adds that she's a child psychologist. Ethan is surprised and says that little kids don't really need a psychologist. She answers, "On the contrary, that's the most critical age. Even a simple event can cause a child to suffer for life." Ethan then changes the subject, telling her they used to live in Boston, and admits that he too often watches her from their window. Slowly, he seems influenced by her words, and she tells him, "If you ever want to talk, my door's open." The boy gains courage, sits with her, talks for a while, and she lends him some movies to watch before he leaves. The next day, Bana wakes up to find David, a man who's been living in her basement for 3 months. He tells her he's traveling for 2 days and offers to fix the lights in her house. She refuses, since she can't stand bright light. He then asks her how she plans to spend Halloween. She replies that she'll turn off all the lights and stay alone. Even when he offers to bring her some candy to give to the kids, she refuses, saying, "Candy or no candy, they'll just make noise." At night, she hears commotion outside, women and children making noise because she didn't hand out sweets. They even start throwing eggs at her house. Frustrated, she opens the door to yell at them, but collapses instantly. By chance, her neighbor Jane arrives and helps her regain consciousness. When Bana wakes up, Jane explains that she suffers from agoraphobia, which makes her faint whenever she steps outside. Bana thanks her for the gift she had sent with her son Ethan, but Jane tells her it was actually her husband who sent it. Later, Bana confesses that she cannot go outside at all, and when she does, it's only under an umbrella to avoid passing out. They spend hours talking, and Jane notices the sedatives on her table, warning her, "It's dangerous to mix alcohol with this medication. The effect will turn against you." She admitted that she knew it was wrong, but she just couldn't stop. Then she changed the subject. Jane understood that she didn't want to talk about it anymore. She showed her a picture of Ethan when he was little and told her that she had lived her whole life for him. Bana admired Jane's earrings and learned they were a gift from a friend of hers. Jane also said that her husband Russell was a difficult man who always liked to be in control. She added that she was always worried about Ethan because he was so sensitive. Then Jane gave Bana a drawing of her with the cat as a gift. Neither of them wanted the meeting to end, but eventually Jane had to leave. The next morning, Russell came knocking on Bana's door. He asked if anyone from his family had visited her. She told him no, since Jane had already warned her about how tough his character was. Russell left, and Bana went upstairs to tidy her room. Suddenly, she heard a noise inside the house. She called the police and begged them to come quickly, but it turned out to be just David returning. She apologized, saying, "You scared me." He told her he needed a screwdriver. She gave him her toolbox and he went upstairs. When he reached the roof, he noticed it was damaged and about to collapse at any moment. That night, Bana was watching old videos of her husband and daughter. Suddenly, she heard loud screaming. At the same time, she called Ethan to check on him. He told her, "Everything's fine. There's no screaming at all." But as she was speaking to him, she saw Jane running out of the house in tears. Right then, her phone rang. It was Russell asking why she had called. She told him, "I heard screaming and just wanted to check on you." He replied that everything was fine and that only he and Ethan were at home. That's when Bana started to suspect something, because she had clearly seen Jane leave the house crying. If Russell was claiming it was just him and Ethan inside, something didn't add up. Bana grabbed her cameras and went down to David. She asked him if he had heard the screams. He said no. He had been watching a movie and hadn't noticed anything. Bana returned to her house and began spying on Russell's home. She saw him angry and furious. A little later, Ethan came knocking on her door, completely devastated. She asked, "What happened?" He told her that Russell was always pressuring him. Bana tried to comfort him and said, "I'm here for you anytime." The next day, Bana called Dr. Carl. She told him about Ethan and said she had thought about contacting Child Protection Services. But then she added, "I know they won't believe me because of my condition." Carl replied, "Forget about other people. Focus on your own life. One day, Bana woke up to the sound of Jane screaming. Suddenly, she saw Jane stabbed with a knife, but she couldn't figure out who had done it. She rushed to grab her phone and called emergency services, but the police were already tired of her because of her many reports. Jane cried out, "Help me!" She needed to save Jane before she died. Bana took her umbrella and stepped outside to try and check on her. But suddenly a car appeared in front of her, assistant standing in front of her. She finds Russell standing in front of her. He says he came to ask about his son and insists he knows nothing about what she's claiming. Bana tries to confront him, saying, "Jane complained to me about you many times." She then tells the detectives that she saw everything with her camera, but unfortunately, she wasn't able to record it. Without evidence, they wouldn't believe her. Bana insists, "I need to see Jane and make sure she's okay." Russell calls her over to come, but the shock, the woman she sees is not the Jane she knows. Bana exclaims, "This isn't the Jane I know." When she asks to see Ethan, he comes and tells her, "My mom doesn't know you. She's never seen you before." Russell then takes his wife and son and leaves. Detective Little's assistant says, "We're tired of your false reports," and they walk away. The next day, Bana wakes up and starts searching online for Russell's family, looking for any pictures of the Jane she remembers. She discovers that his secretary died under mysterious circumstances. Immediately, she calls David and asks if he has seen Jane at Russell's house, but he doesn't answer. Bana decides to go down to his room. She finds a pile of unopened letters scattered everywhere and realizes David had been in prison before. Suddenly, David walks in and yells at her, "You went into my room without permission." Bana says, "I just wanted to know if you saw Jane." David replies, "I've never seen her." Bana leaves his room. With no other choice, she continues spying on Jane's house. She starts taking photos when suddenly her phone rings. It's Jane saying, "Shame on you, stop filming and spying on my house." Then adds, "If you don't stop, I'll call the police." The next morning, Bana wakes up to prepare breakfast, but she hears the sound of Jane's cat coming from David's room. She rushes in and is shocked to find Jane's earring on his table. Now she's confused, not knowing who to believe. Days pass with her on edge, until one day she sees Ethan coming out of their house. She runs to him like a madwoman, shouting, "Where's your mom? What did you do to her?" Ethan yells back, "Leave me alone, you've never seen my mom." Bana pleads, "Say what's in your heart, I'm here for you." He's about to speak, but suddenly Russell grabs him and says to Bana, "I've had enough of you. I know you've been digging into me. You're playing a game that's way out of your league." Then he leaves. The next day, Bana opens her medicine box and finds the drawing Jane had given her. That moment, she's certain she was right all along, but she still doesn't know what to do next. Suddenly, she receives a message from an unknown number. It's a picture of her inside her own house. She realizes someone is watching her. She immediately calls Detective Little. Little comes, but finds no trace of anyone suspicious. By chance, he notices Bana's medication and realizes she suffers from a mental illness and is under treatment. At that moment, Russell arrives and tells Little that Bana has been spying on his house and constantly bothering his son. Soon after, David shows up as well. He says he doesn't know Jane and insists that on the night of the incident, he was with his girlfriend, Catherine. Bana tries to defend herself, saying, "If my husband were here, he would believe me." Then comes the shocking truth. Bana's family had died in an accident. She remembers the day it happened. She was on a trip with her husband, Michael, and their daughter. On the road, she argued with Michael because he had discovered she was having an affair with a colleague at work. Suddenly, she received a call from an unknown number. Michael, angry, wanted to answer it. Bana grabbed his hand, refusing to let him. The car lost control and crashed. Her husband and daughter died. She couldn't save them. From that day on, Bana started therapy. Detective Little told her that he had spoken with Dr. Carl and that her medication could cause hallucination, meaning everything that happened might have been only in her imagination. Bana broke down crying, apologizing, saying she had only caused trouble for everyone. She decided to continue her therapy sessions. At the first session, she told Carl that she wanted to return to her life and that she had made up her mind. She also told him, "David is leaving. He just came back to take his things." Carl looked uneasy, knowing she would be alone, but Bana reassured him that she was going to be fine. After he left, she locked all the doors and windows, gathered all her medication, and was ready to end her life. She tried to sit down and record a video for David in case they accused only him, but every time she tried to start, she froze and couldn't continue. She just couldn't bring herself to do it. She got up and looked at the pictures of her daughter. Suddenly, she found a photo of her cat, and in it, the reflection of the light was opposite to what appeared in Jane. At that moment, she realized she wasn't crazy, that she was right all along, and not them. She took the picture, placed it on her laptop, and kept zooming in. Just then, she heard the door open. David walked in. She showed him the photo, but he told her that woman was Katie, not Jane. Then he explained her story. Katie had been Russell's wife. After years of his abuse, she ran away while pregnant with Ethan. Russell spent 2 years searching for her until he found her. But by then, she had fallen in with a group of drug addicts. He took their son from her, and she went to prison. Later, when she found out where her son was, Russell began paying her money to stay away from Ethan. Bana begged David to go with her to the police, to tell the truth and prove she wasn't insane. But David refused and tried to leave. She chased after him, planning to leave her laptop behind, but it fell. The screen shattered, and the picture was lost. Suddenly, she heard David screaming. When she rushed to see what had happened, she was shocked to find Ethan about to kill David, and then turning on her. He said, "This is your knife, and the murder will be pinned on you." He confessed that he was the one who killed Katie, and that he killed David, so he would also be blamed, since both of them had been involved with her. He declared that he would destroy every unfaithful woman, and that he knew she too had cheated on her husband. Finally, he revealed that he had moved into her neighborhood on purpose, after hearing her story from the realtor, Sarah, and chose to live right across from her. At that moment, she realized he was also the one who had killed his father's secretary, and she knew she had to think fast to outsmart him. She tells him, "That's it. I was planning to say goodbye to life." She asks him to let her do it herself. She pretends to drink the pills, but as soon as he comes closer, she smashes a bottle in his face and runs away. David is still alive and tries to help her. He holds Ethan back so she can escape, but unfortunately, Ethan breaks free from David and chases after her. He drags her by the legs down the stairs. She keeps resisting and runs up to the rooftop. It's raining heavily and her phobia grows stronger, making it hard for her to run. At that moment, Ethan shows up and tries to drown her in the rainwater flooding the place. She keeps dodging left and right until he hits her in the face with a metal bar. He's about to kill her when she remembers David's words about the roof needing repairs. She quickly heads there and keeps striking Ethan until the roof collapses beneath him. When she wakes up, she finds herself in the hospital, with Detective Little standing in front of her. He apologizes for not believing her before and admits she was right. He tells her that Russell has been caught and assures her that her cat is safe until she recovers. He also shows her that he watched her video and asked her to delete it before handing it over to the investigators. She thanks Little for standing by her and saving her. About 9 months later, she's fully recovered. She decides to sell the house and build a new life. She walks outside again, free from her phobia, and continues her life normally. And here we reach the end of the movie. I hope you enjoyed the summary. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.